is what is lost in translation besides the beauty. I gave the same example in the morning, I'll give you the same example now, inshallah. The word nafs. The word nafs. You've heard that word before? The word ruh. Have you heard the word ruh before? I'm going to recite to you two ayat. One of them has the word nafs in it, the other has the word ruh in it. Allah says, Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut. Which word did you hear? Everybody heard the word nafs? Then Allah says in Surah Al-Isra, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ. Which word did you hear? Ar-ruh. The average English translation of Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut is, every soul shall taste death. Tell me what English word was used for nafs. Every soul shall taste death. What word? Soul. When Allah Azza wa Jal says, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ, the translation says, they ask you about the soul. They ask you about the soul. Jazakallahu khairan. May Allah make you an awesome basketball player. Football? Okay, yeah, you guys are big on football. Anyway, they ask you about the soul. So there are two words in Arabic, nafs and ruh. How many words in English? Ruh, soul. Allah said two things, and the translator has no choice in English but to say one thing, soul. So if you and I are thinking that we have an accurate understanding of what Allah says, reading the English or Urdu or any other translation, we're definitely missing something. The Arabic language is very, very, very deep. I can't begin to tell you how deep because I don't even know how deep it is. I'm a student myself. But I can tell you this. Allah says ins for human beings. He says insan for human beings. He says anasi for people. He says nas for people. He says bashar for people. He says insiya in Surah Maryam for people. All of these for human beings, right? All of these words? When you translate all of them, what do you get? Human being. But Allah used like a dozen different words. If Allah chose to use a different word, does it mean something different? Because if it meant the same thing, Allah would say the same thing. The Arabic language for one word has 12 different uses. There are 10 different kinds of anger. There are a dozen different kinds of just seeing. Different kinds of sabr and patience. Different words for it. And Allah uses different words in different places. I'll tell you this. There's another interesting example of this vocabulary issue. Allah Azza wa Jal sometimes uses the word qalb. Many of you know what qalb means. What does it mean? Qalb is translated heart. Sometimes Allah uses the word fu'ad. How does fu'ad get translated? Heart. Actually heart. If you look at the Lisan al-Arab, Ibn Manzur's lexicon, heart. So Allah uses qalb and Allah uses fu'ad. Thabbit qulubana. Thabbit qulubana. With ithbat, what did Allah use? Or tathbit rather, qulub. Linuthabbita bihi fu'adak. What did He use that time? Fu'ad. Sometimes qalb, sometimes fu'ad. And both times the translation in English says what? Heart. Now look at this ayah. I believe it's in Surah Al-Qasas. فَأَصْبَحَ فُؤَادُ أُمِّ مُوسَى فَارِغًا. Which word did Allah use? Fu'ad or qalb? You heard the word fu'ad? Read the rest of the ayah. لَوْلَا أَنْ رَبَطْنَا عَلَىٰ قَلْبِهَا. What word is this one? Same ayah. Beginning of it used fu'ad. The latter part of it used qalb. When you read the translation, both of them get translated heart. Allah didn't mean the same thing. Because had He meant the same thing, He would have said the same thing. Those of you that take the course when it comes, I'll solve this riddle for you then, inshallah. I'll keep you thirsty until then a little bit. But this, we need to build a thirst for the choices of words Allah makes. Because they're so precise. And it is impossible to pick another language that can do justice to that precision. It's very difficult. Even if you translate one word for anger as fear, ghadab for example, you take it and you translate it as anger. And another Arabic word for anger, you translate it as rage. Most people, do they know the difference between anger and rage? Same thing to us, right? He was full of anger, he was full of rage. I mean, we use these words interchangeably. The Arabic axiom is there is no one word that is the perfect substitute for another word. Every word has its own connotation. Every word has its own little taste. So Allah's words are very difficult to communicate in another language. The most you can get is some general idea. But if you want to get precise, we need to resort back to the Arabic language.